And it signifies that I think the person who is displaying gravitas, they really have a sound judgment. They can handle very weighty issues, and they are very, very down to earth. Third, and very important, connected with the spirituality, I really balance my destiny and effort. I believe that everything comes to us which belongs to us if we really create the capacity to create it.
It is, and there's some similarities in terms of my relationship with my mother. So I'm really interested to know from you, even though you talk now maturely and intelligently about the trauma that she would have had as a child. At what age did you really understand that and were able to have empathy with your mother?
That how to really express emotions in a very productive, healthy manner. I was sort of a fear of getting rejected or getting abandoned. So I was very cautious about my emotions. So I was not fully expressing. So that's what the first feedback I got.
Hello, and welcome to Confessions of a Successful Leader, hosted by me, Andrew Tallents, the self-coaching expert. In each episode of the show, we hear the insightful confessions of a successful leader who wants to inspire others to live their professional and personal dreams. I am always keen to hear your feedback, particularly in relation to the kinds of leaders you would like me to invite onto the show in future. But for now, sit back, relax, and enjoy the rich insights from our special guest.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Confessions of a Successful Leader, hosted by me, Andrew Tallents, the self-coaching expert. I'm delighted that Rajal has joined me in the studio today. Rajal, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Andrew. It's my pleasure to just be on your podcast.
Yeah, it's lovely to see you here today. We always start our podcast by getting to know our guest a little bit more. So tell us about who you are as a person and where your focus is right now.
Okay. So, Andrew, first of all, thanks for your time to have this podcast with me. And so, as a person, Andrew, I'm very joyful. I'm very full of life and a spiritually rich person, and leading totally authentically and in gratitude. So I just say that I'm humble because I really experienced despair. I'm grateful because I have known losses, and I'm happy because I've learned what matters. And as you know, Andrew, in life, we cannot avoid storms, right? But at least we can really learn to dance in the rain. So I have been learned to dance in the rain, and I at times I'm truly, truly thriving. So that's about me. That is on my personal level. On the professional level, I'll say that I'm a visionary business alchemist. I'm a business technologist. I'm a strategist, and very importantly, I'm a coaching evangelist. So I always manage from left and I lead from right. And I've been in a very transformational leadership roles for 30 years in corporate, and I really delivered excellence. First 10 years I was with Citibank's Innovation Technology Center, and next 20 years I was with ATOS, which is known for running Olympics for so far. And ATOS was having footprints in the 75 countries, and I was responsible globally and also locally for both Citibank Innovation Center and ATOS. Having said that, I must say that I was leading ATOS India as our profit center head, and before that, I really I'm basically from one of the best institutes in India. So I'm an engineer and MBA, and but I'm very good with P&L management. So I used to make a lot of money for ATOS India for 10 years, making my customer happy all over the world. And that's why I was promoted on the global leadership role in 2008 in ATOS. So I was the first lady and first Indian to be part of ATOS leadership role in 2008. So I belong to ATOS top 100. And it was like that is I really started my global leadership exposure. And I was been given a charge to really shape up two new functions, that is a global portfolio management and global knowledge management. And I had a fantastic bosses. I had a French boss, and I had a German boss, and I was responsible globally. So in 75 countries, I had my teams. So I had really worked in a typical VUCA environment, global environment, where I had really worked with a multicultural, multi-dimensional, diversified team speaking a different language, doing a different management style, and totally like a different way of thinking. And my responsibility was to make really 1% of my top line. That is, we were that time 13 billion euro company, and I was responsible to make sure that I'll really innovate, come out with the 10 offerings every year. And for those offerings, we should be sales ready, marketing ready, delivery readiness for all these 10 offerings so that I can really make a globally profitable business growth year by year. And I did that for almost more than 10 plus years. So that was a fantastic journey and the learning I had. But more importantly, I must say that I was invited by Harvard Business Review Advisory Council to be on their advisory board for technology and for strategy. Even till today, I'm adding value in Harvard Business Review Advisory Council first. During Corona, I've been invited by Forbes to be there on council, and I'm on a expert panel and coaching council of Forbes. So that is so I've got a best of the both world, Harvard and the Forbes, and I really add value with this with my firm, which I formed in during Corona when I left the job, because I've been traveling across the world for 25 years, but and like USA, Europe, Africa, Asia, and that's I think I thought a night it's a time to now travel internally. So that's why I left my job and I stopped traveling across the world, and then I became a coach and I started my own firm. Its name is Gravitas. And Gravitas has got a very meaningful name because so I'll not go in detail of that. It's a Latin word, and it signifies that I think the person who is displaying gravitas, they really have a sound judgment. They can handle very weighty issues, and they are very down to earth. And you must be knowing, Andrew, during Roman times, gravitas was one of the highest virtues of 15 virtues which need to be displayed by any person who like to have a reputable position in the society. So, what's the deep meaning of the gravitas? And I really picked up this gravitas for my firm's name. And we've been focusing on mindful, strategic leadership capacity development. I don't say just leadership development, but leadership capacity development, which focusing on the mindfulness and the strategic thinking and the strategy. That is my focus. And then my firm has been ranked among the first 10 firms in India in just 2 years before. And I was ranked first 10 women corporate leaders in India just last year. So, having said that, I really grateful to the people and bosses and global team I worked, and I really did my fantastic personal development. And I write a lot in Forbes, and some of the articles in Forbes are on this, like personal development, on the growth mindset, on the gravitas, on coaching leadership style. And I've been keep on writing in the Forbes, and I'm getting a really good traction on my articles. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And what I love about what you've said there is given us the framework of the career. And I'm really curious because I've had my challenges with spirituality in the years, and it's only more recently I've connected with that part of who I am. But being in a very corporate environment in that size of business and all the demands of that, and still having that ability to connect with the spirituality and authenticity is going to be an interesting journey for us to listen to. So let's take you way back. Let's take you back to your earlier life. And what was it about those early years, either in your childhood or teenage years, that informed your early leadership style?
Wow. Okay, I'll just answer that. Before that, I just would like to add one thing, that currently my focus is basically really having a balance in all sphere of my life. So my first balance is really balance that equilibrium point where my professional aspirations are intersecting with my personal well-being, which I neglected before. First. Second, my focus is to really balance my outer appearance with my inner solidity, which way this is the way I nurture the gravitas which I developed for last 20 years. Second, third, and very important, connected with the spirituality, I really balance my destiny and effort. Okay, because I believe that everything comes to us which belongs to us if we really create the capacity to create it. And the creating capacity to create is basically about the personal growth. It's about the personal development. And so yeah, this is the way I think we are making readiness for what is coming by spiritual way. So lastly, my philosophy is be calmly active and be actively calm. This is the way I've been really my focusing today based on my earlier journey. So now answering your question about my childhood experiences. I must say that honestly, Andrew, before this podcast, I never thought that how my childhood experiences will really shape me in what I'm today. Okay, but when I was looking back, I really could make out that it has impacted me, my personality, my behavior, my traits so much heavily. But those traits helped me to sail through the storms of the life very gracefully and with very dignity. Now, these traits I developed because of my childhood experience, which I'll just share with you that. So, I was a emotionally neglected, parentified child. That is because of serious irresponsibility, serious, I should say, immaturity, serious insensitivity of my parents. And as you know that, Andrew, this parentification is a form of childhood trauma where the roles reversal happens between the primary caregiver and the child. So in my case, like when I was growing up as a child, I wanted to be cared for, to be attention. I wanted a warmth, a lot of things. My mother did not have a capacity for giving warmth because of her childhood trauma. So I had to step up to take care of me and my mother, because my father was less bothered about both of us, because he was a full-time communist and he was focusing outside but not on us. So having said that, because of the lack of attention, guidance, no security, so I had to find out my ways, for me and for my mother, that from my childhood. Second, because of the instability, because of the uncertainty, and because of the poverty, it was a question of for me to of the survival of for me and for my mother. So that's why I now look back. I developed a 5 types of traits. The first was I really developed a strong sense of independence, strong sense of purpose, strong sense of self. That was, I was a very self reliant, along with a very creative way of problem solving capability, because I had to do everything myself and for my mother. So I really think out of the box. And some of the times I could see that the way some of the tough problem, very hard situation I used to handle, which others, when I was in a school, other children used to get wonder how I can do that. But because I think that was coming in me to have to take the responsibility. Then I had a strong sense of purpose because I wanted to make my mother very happy, because I've seen her from my childhood. Like she had been really not taken granted for my father and disbothered. So that was my strong purpose. Having said that, I was really like a overachiever. I was really had a like a tenacity to stretch my capability. I was very excelling in all the field, and very precisely I was a perfectionist. So these are the traits I developed, which actually helped me in my leadership when I became a leader. So becoming a leader really really rocked me to my core. This is my core. Now, second trait I developed was very interesting. Was I developed a capacity for a deep connection, and that is again because I had a unmet like a needs, no attention, and I was really craving from a genuine bonding with my parents because I didn't have any siblings. Didn't have any cousins living with me. They all were in USA. So I now naturally I developed the ability to really see the spark in the people, pulse of the people. I can connect with the people who can help me, not help me, and I can get my way through. And that is really actually indirectly I developed the EQ, emotional intelligence, because I know how I have to really play with my emotions and other people's master emotions and get the work done and form a deep bond. And you won't believe till today the type of bonds I have developed with my global team, which are having from different countries, different languages, different culture. When till today, like I'm really connected with them. I had a bosses like German boss Jorgen. I had a French boss Francis. Till today, I have a superb connection with them, and even my team, my Indian team, even so. This is the deep capacity of connection was really helping me for me as a leader, and this is a very essential team required skill for the leader, and I developed that. Second, third, very important was and exceptional adaptability, because I know we have to find out the ways. I know things will not happen in my own way. I don't have parents to guide me; they are not with me. So then I'll just find out my ways, and then so then I can adapt to any situation, any people, any type of environment. Even though there was uncomfortness, even though I was not feeling okay, but I used to do that because that was a question of survival. And I can see that when I was given a global leadership role in ATOS and given a charge of globally, and like then people were wondering who this Indian lady is going to do with us, and but I could adapt with the culture and the language and management style and everything, and I could build a solid global team for 10 plus years. So that's why I could really perform, exceeding my targets year by year. This is because of adaptability was great, and I was never like uncomfortable with that. For me, change was not a threat. Change was the opportunity for me to grow and learn. So automatically you can see I had some traits of the growth mindset. So unconsciously I had developed that at third. Fourth was about I was a very meticulous planner I become, and a value for money and control of the environment. Again, obviously I have to be in charge of myself. I have to lead myself. I have to take care of my mother. So when in my leadership line become a leadership skill, I think it was a fantastic thing to do a fantastic planner and value for money. As I told you, I was doing a end-to-end P&L management, generating a 45% the gross margin and 22% net margin, because I had that value of money from my childhood. The last and but least was unwavering perseverance. So I had a lot of obstacles as to come by me from my childhood to my college days, because no, I have to take care of myself and mother, and you won't believe that a lot of obstacles will come, but I'll fall a lot of time. I fell, I'll get up, I'll wipe up my tears because nobody was to do that for me. So automatically I could really develop a very sense of the taking care of charge of my environment and taking charge of myself, and keep on increasing my tenacity. Now, all these traits really were basically in my core, which really like helped me when I become a leader, local leadership role and a global leadership role. It's making sense.
It is, and there's some similarities in terms of my relationship with my mother. So I'm really interested to know from you, even though you talk now maturely and intelligently about the trauma that she would have had as a child. At what age did you really understand that and were able to have empathy
Okay,
with your mother,
I
even
understood
though she
about
wasn't
her.
necessarily able to? Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. So, very honestly, when I was a child, I was not knowing even my school days. I was not aware of that, but I had a strong sense of purpose about my mother. Yeah, I have to make her happy. She just passed away just a few months before. Till that, I was like her strong anchor. I came to know about her childhood trauma when I came into professional life, just after I clear my college days. And then she told me that what happened to her in her childhood, and it was a very sad and very traumatic scene. She told me about that, and afterwards I become even more empathetic, and I want to make sure I'll make her happy. And Andrew, I really made her happy. And when she passed away just few months before, she used to tell everybody that because of Rajal, I think I'm really superly happy, and she took care of me. And that's I think I should say that's a blessings from her and from God.
Sure. Thank you for that. And what I'm also interested in, you're a resourceful person, have always been resourceful with purpose, and always had to find ways to do things, for yourself in that sense. At what point as a leader in your professional life did you start to realize, although that was a successful way of leading, it wasn't always necessarily the most effective way to lead?
Yeah, very interestingly, I think I should say that I was working in a Citibank's Global Innovation Center, and I was a business technologist, and I was blessed to be working in such a place where there was a system of taking 360-degree feedback. So about me, and I worked for Citibank around 10 years in the Innovation Technology Center, not a banking job, okay? So we used to really apply my latest technology knowledge for increasing the performance of the Citibank all over world. So I used to again roam around the world for implementing what we used to design. And that's why I got a feedback not only from my Indian colleague peers, but my global customers, my global peers, my bosses, not only Indian, but even where I used to move around the world, wherever bosses I used to be there, like Dutch boss or sometimes Spanish boss and Chinese boss and everybody. And I got a four type of feedback. First, I got a feedback that Rajal, like in 360 feedback, first there's a communication problem about how I feel about myself, how I express my emotions. And they told me that you cannot express your emotions in a healthy manner. And I knew that because I didn't have a role model to growing up that how to really express emotions in a very productive, healthy manner. So I was sort of a fear of getting rejected or getting abandoned. So I was very cautious about my emotions. So I was not freely expressing. So that's what the first feedback I got. And I know, okay, I have to take care of that. Second feedback I got was about, I just mentioned to you, I was overachiever, I was excelling, I was perfectionist, I was like a tenacity. So I was very task driven. So I used to expect same thing from my team. And without knowing, everybody cannot have this. And I was really expecting, why cannot do this? See, I can do that. Why? So indirectly, I was putting my pressure to them. And I got a feedback that I have to be really balance my task orientation along with a emotional intelligence way of leading the team. I took action. I'll tell you afterwards. And fourth thing was I got a feedback about that, because I was a neglected child and I was a girl child, and I had a lot of unmet needs. So in my team, local and global team, I was partial with women folks. So ladies working in my team in India or even any other part of the world, I a lot of times try to be empathetic with them. I'll take their emotions on me. I'll try to be find out about their personal issues, problems they're facing, and then I'll take on me. And I used to really overload myself, so I couldn't really maintain a boundary. So I used to get a feedback that I'm very partial to girls and ladies in my global and local team, and I was. So that is then I started putting a boundary. And last feedback I was getting about that I cannot do conflict resolution very nicely. Again, I was not been taught or even guided to that how to do a conflict resolution first of all. So I used to basically, instead of addressing the issue, I used to really become a passive aggressive. Okay, and that was very counterproductive. So I got these four type of feedbacks during my 360-degree feedback for 10 years of working, and even during the our global group dynamics workshop where we used to form the team. And this is the things I could make out this is affecting negatively, but I immediately I took take care of that.
It's interesting you share that. So many leaders listening to this have had 360 feedback, immediate feedback, direct feedback, and yet so many don't act on it. So tell us a bit more about what you did immediately then in terms of how you change your behaviors of it.
Okay, that is very interesting, and I say that I am not what happened to me. I am what I choose to become. I keep on repeating that, like, I am not what happened to me. I really choose what to become. So I really made very conscious, intentional choices. Okay, how can I handle that? So first thing I did was, and I'm very fortunate that Daniel Goleman, who's a concept creator of EQ, emotional intelligence. He came to India in 1996. I just started my career in Citibank, and I thought I should learn about EQ. So immediately I went I asked my bosses, and they say, yeah, please go ahead. So I learned about emotional intelligence from a creator, originator, and from about the emotional intelligence, actually what is it and how to apply for myself, mastering my emotions, and even take care of my team about all five aspects of the emotional intelligence first. Second thing what I did was immediately, and that is very interesting, is that I really tried to be 2005 ahead of the time. I decided to become a leadership coach, to build a team leadership coach. And that time it was not available in India. So I went to USA and literally become a leadership coach for senior leadership. And that was a total eye opener for me. I learned that I have a lot of internal resources within myself. I got a power to change myself, a power to heal my child pain, and I can validate my child pain. And that was, I really changed perspective towards me, towards my team, and then my team, the balancing of the task orientation with a human touch was totally changed. That is the second thing I did. Third thing I did was again very interesting. I got a hand of the book of the 7 habits of highly effective people. It was a simple book, but I think when I got this book, I remember that I think I've read this book, I think almost 5 to 6 times. And I picked up so many things about for me, for my team, for my personal life also, for my professional life. Then I attended a Stephen Covey's special program on 7 habits. I went to Singapore specially to learn about that. And till today, that is my Bible. When something, I don't know, I just open that book and just see, yeah, what is that thing missing? So that's the third thing I did about that. Fourth thing, and it's very, I'm fortunate to have that, Andrew. As I told you that I have been given a charge of a global leadership position in ATOS. So I went to, so they said I was in Bombay. My global boss, who was an ex-finance minister of France, okay, he invited me to his room to welcome me in the global leadership team, being a first Indian and lady. So Bernard, he's saying, Rajal, I know you got a high performance, blah 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 blah. That's why we invited you to be a global leadership team. You are a part of our top 100 team, but you lack gravitas. You lack gravitas. I say, okay, I didn't ask that. So then I say, what is gravitas? So then he told me that go to INSEAD University. There's a professor. You go to him, learn about gravitas. So then I went there, I learned about gravitas, and then I fell in love with gravitas. What is gravitas is about, and then I really picked up everything what is required for gravitas. And there's a very famous article of me in Forbes. I have written about that 7 ways to enhance your gravitas without changing your sense of self. So I really didn't change my Indian values, my personality, my culture. So my sense of self I kept intact, and I really started cultivating gravitas Okay, and then I that was a powerful asset I built up, and that is the reason that one of the things that till today I think I'm grateful to Bernard because of that. I think I learned Gravitas, and it really Gravitas is not about me sharing a having a good presence, but Gravitas is about something internally I have to work on myself. That's why it's reflecting outside. It's a very fantastic amalgamation of poise, trust, resilience, influence, authenticity, your strategic mind, your thinking, growth mindset. Is everything is about gravitas. It's having all high value traits. I developed that with the help of my French boss, with the help of my German boss, and I'm really grateful to Francis and Jorgen. If they listen to this video, I think they'll be very happy, and that because of them, I learned a lot. Of course, I learned from my peers across all the different countries. Even I'm like a lot of peers, like Julian in Netherlands. I know that I think he really so, and somebody in France, somebody in Spain, and some. So I really learned a lot about, and I because of Gravitas, I could do that. And last but least, I was searching. I was really reinventing myself. I was re-energizing myself to find out what is my inner peace I can get. So I read a lot of books. I read The Secret. I read a lot of ism, like Hinduism and Buddhism, and a lot of things. Then I found out that Buddhism, I want to go in depth of that because Buddha was, it's not about religious, it's about the human transformation. And that's why I became an ardent follower of Buddhism. Until today, I follow Buddhism. And that is why, because of, I can have an inner calmness. And that's why I say I want to be actively calm and calmly active, mindfulness. You think about Buddhism. So this self-care, it's everything together. I could really take care of all the feedback I got, negativity, and I really exceeded much more than that. That's why people started trusting me, and I can influence them. So I believe that person having a leadership, having a gravitas, is not the smartest person in the room, not a person having a wearing a branded clothes in the room, but it's having a very presence which can influence others and people trust them, and that's why gravitas is very important for me.
Thank you. Now we're coming towards the end of our time together, but I do have two more questions for you, and they are linked. So the first question for you is, bear in mind what you've just said, and I work in similar ways with a lot of my clients who are leaders who want to do some inner work, do deeper inner work, and yet they have this inability sometimes to actually create space in their lives just to be. So they're doing all the time. What advice would you give, having been on this journey, to all those executives that have been known for doing great things and achieving great bottom lines, and yet the secret is how to be? What advice would you give to them in terms of first steps to take on that journey?
I would say that you to really balance the inner game and outer game. When I say inner game, it's about as a person, okay, and outer game is about our as a professional, what skills you are. So we everybody will have a common outer game. We learn about strategic thinking, strategy, blah 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 blah, everything. But inner game is about each individual is different. Each one is God is made differently. So that's why you to really focus on the inner game, and there itself, my advice is to really cultivate gravitas, because gravitas is a measure of indirectly about the leadership effectiveness. It's about really building powerful traits, and this gravitas is building is not a quick fix. Because of the experiences and then your personal growth, you really build the gravitas, and that is a really lifelong assets for not only for professional life but for personal life also.
Sure, I'm on that journey now as well. So to finish, just tell us a little bit about what the future holds for you. What are you going to be in service of now with all this experience you've gained over the years, and obviously with the business you have now? What are you in service of for the next few years?
Andrew, I just like your concept about the self coaching. And I realized that I think I did some self coaching, but it was not actually, I can formalize the self coaching. But I think that is the one thing I really would like to focus on. There I would like to add the spirituality, spiritualism combined with the self-coaching. Okay, and I think I've developed something on that, so that I would like to share. I'd like to contribute, add value first, and second, obviously, I would like to anybody who want to cultivate gravitas. I'm there to really talk about my real life, and talk about what is happening because of Gravitas, how my customers, my team, my current, my personal life, everywhere, how it is really positively impacting. So that's why I think I would like to go for a Gravitas, how to radiate that. And there we require a self-coaching and as a coaching partner also. You can't do alone.
Super. And if people are interested in getting in contact with you, what's the best way to do that?
My email address and my phone address. I'm always open, and I'll be welcome to anybody who want to just interact with me, Andrew.
Super. Well, Rajal, I've really enjoyed learning more about Gravitas. I've really, really appreciated you sharing your story from your childhood to where you are today, and still much more to give. And I really can feel that energy and that presence. So thank you again, Rajal, for coming on the show.
Thank you very much. I think it's my pleasure. Thank you, Andrew.
I hope you enjoyed this episode of Confessions of a Successful Leader. You can access all previous episodes of the show at confessionsofaSuccessfulLeader.com. If you are interested in finding out more about conscious leadership and self-coaching, just type in Andrew Tallents into LinkedIn or your favorite browser, and you'll find my contact details and all the content that you need. Until next time, don't forget to stay present, curious, and above all, conscious.